morning. It is Tuesday, April 28th, 2015. This is your morning edition on I-24 News. Coming up later today, the world rallies to save Nepal from humanitarian disaster as the death toll rises to over 4,000. Chaos and violence erupt on the streets of Baltimore yesterday as protesters clash with police after the death of a black man in custody. The mayor announces a state of emergency. And later on the show, something lighter, very lighter and meatless. Vegans can rejoice. Tel Aviv was recently selected as the #1 city for the niche cuisine dining. Tofu for all. We'll take a closer look. Good morning. I am Yael Levi, and we begin straight in Nepal today, where Saturday's devastating earthquake is now blamed for at least 4,000 deaths. Reconstruction is estimated to cost billions. International aid efforts are underway, but aftershocks are rattling survivors' nerves and making the recovery even more challenging. Rescue crews and aid groups are working to reach survivors, but their efforts are being hampered by the stricken area's remote locations. Roads that are drivable are clogged with traffic. Officials warn that the death toll could go much higher. Now, the magnitude 7.8 quake has left nearly 1 million children in need of humanitarian aid. Thousands of Kathmandu residents have put up tents in open areas, and now there are new concerns, ranging from a shortage of tents to worries that the food and water supplies might only last until the end of this week. The quake also triggered a massive avalanche that buried climbers at the Mount Everest base camp. Helicopter crews have been working to get climbers off the mountain, and aid is beginning to trickle in as countries pledge donations for reconstruction. It is clear, though, much of it will be needed to begin the painful job of rebuilding the ruins that is the country of Nepal. Joining me in studio is Sunita Rai, a Nepalese national working in Israel as a caregiver. Sunita, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, before we break this down, let's take a look at the following report about the latest from Nepal, and then we'll talk.
Space has run out at the morgue of Kathmandu's Bir Hospital as the official death toll of the deadly earthquake increased to more than 3,800, according to the Nepali Home Ministry.
There is nothing to eat or even drink here. It's been 2 days since we've eaten a meal. There's no place to sleep, and it has been raining. We are really devastated.
Thousands of stranded passengers crowded into and around the airport in Kathmandu, attempting to flee the country 2 days after the massive tremor raised death and destruction. Meanwhile, as the international community continues to send rescue teams, some aid flights were prevented from landing by aftershocks that closed the main airport several times. The level of destruction in remote parts of Nepal is yet to be determined, and aftershocks triggered more avalanches in the Himalayas Sunday. Filmmaker Michael Churton managed to survive at Mount Everest base camp, where he was filming a documentary.
Everything was gone. All our tents were gone, and then people were pushed. Like the guy who stood in front of me was now 30 feet over there, and we're missing one person that we don't know if she's alive or dead.
Many of Kathmandu's 1 million residents have slept in the open since the quake, as the fierce shortage of tents and medical supplies increases. From China to Britain, countries have pledged funds to help where possible.
The European Commission is making €3 million available, in addition to the assistance from member states and the deployment of the Commission's humanitarian aid and civil protection experts to the crisis areas.
With officials saying around 100,000 people are left homeless, the toll is likely to rise. Rescuers are now struggling to reach the remote regions in the country of 28 million people, as staggering amounts of bodies buried under rubble are recovered.
We're going to go straight to Kathmandu for the deputy spokesperson of the Israeli Foreign Ministry, Alon Levi. Alon, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Please describe to us, I know that you've arrived, I think, not a long while ago, to Nepal. What is the situation on the ground?
Well, we have arrived with a special Israeli flight, a large flight that came with all the IDF forces that are going to establish the field hospital here in Kathmandu, and also teams of research and rescue. And after that, what we've done is, in hours after landing, we started boarding all the Israelis that wanted to be evacuated, including was 216 Israelis, including 11 infants that were born in the last between 1 to 3 weeks.
Right.
After that, we are waiting for the cargo that will arrive for the field hospital, and the embassy is doing its utmost together with the other authorities to reach all Israelis in Nepal.
And Alon, and in terms of the Israelis, the effort being done by the Israeli Foreign Ministry is definitely commendable, but I also know that the IDF forces on the ground have set up tents to help the locals in Nepal, the Nepalese residents. Can you describe to us the scenes? Have you seen already the scenes of destruction in Nepal?
You can see destruction everywhere you look. When you drive from the airport to the embassy, you see many tents on the sides of the streets, and you see destruction. Yes, it's very sad to see it, and obviously Israel is doing whatever
it can to help. I think the line is breaking up, but Mr. Levi from the Israeli Foreign Ministry in Kathmandu, thank you for joining us this morning. Joining me in studio also with Sunita is His Excellency Prahlad Kumar Prasai, the Ambassador of Nepal in Israel. I want to thank you very much for being with us in studio this morning. This is a devastating, terrifying incident that Nepal has gone through. Can you tell us what Nepal needs at this point? How much aid you would believe is necessary, and how long it will take to reconstruct?
Yes, thank you. Actually, you have already told us. It is a really devastating earthquake. It has not happened in Nepal since last 80 years. 80 years before we have such kind of earthquake. And this earthquake has brought a lot of damage all around Nepal. Almost all part of Nepal, especially in the central and western part of Nepal, but all around Nepal. And then so far more than 4,400 people have died and more than 8,000 injured. And then I think those people who survived, they are also living in the open sky, because the aftershocks are coming every 15 or 20 minutes. So far 60 aftershocks have come. 60
aftershocks.
60, more than 60, yeah, since April 25th, since Saturday. And people are afraid. I think if they go inside, maybe there will be a problem. And that's why they are living on the street and on the park or in somewhere in open space. And then many archaeological and historical heritage sites have been damaged. Right. Those were hundreds and thousands of years of old. Some archaeological sites have been damaged. And many people lost their lives, many people wounded. Still we don't know. There could be many more. Government is trying to reach them. Government is trying to reach them. Because of our climatic condition and this terrain, geographical terrain, it is difficult to reach everywhere. But government is trying its best, and the weather condition also sometimes hampers to take helicopter everywhere. Let us hope. I think we can cope it. And at this time of grief and national grief, at this time of need, the international community is giving a lot of support to us, aid and relief materials, including Israel. Israel has just sent, I think in 2 days' time, it has sent a lot of rescue materials, rescue and find and rescue, search and rescue operation it has started. Also, it has provided some medical equipment, and they are going to, we understand they are going to establish one field hospital also there, and we are very grateful for it. And besides that, the embassy also receiving words of support, condolences, words of support from Israeli people all over the country, and also from foreign friends. We are we profusely thank them for their good wishes. And then government of Nepal at this time, I go to your first question, government of Nepal at this time needs, actually for the relief operation, we need, for example, blankets or tents and something like that, mattresses and medical supplies. Medical supplies and some food and something like that, some kind of dry food or this kind of thing. This is very much needed now. And so far, you see, around 6 million people have been affected. 6 million people. Yes.
It's a devastating number. There's also, and there is a community of Nepalese people living also in Israel that, and to begin with, obviously, you know most of them, Your Excellency. Sunita Rai, you're one of these people living in Israel. You're a caregiver in the country. And I'm assuming that when this happened, you were very terrified. You have family in Nepal, right?
Yes, I have family.
Who's in Nepal?
My mother, my husband, and 2 kids. Day before, I could not connect with them, contact, and with anybody. It was completely disconnect. So it was really, really, we are worried here. We cannot do anything. Right now, we cannot go. So it was really worried.
Yes.
But yesterday, finally, we contact with the family, very hardly, and better than day before. Yesterday also still earthquake is coming, but less than day before. So yes, so we hope it will be stopped soon. Yes.
Where is your family in Nepal? Are they in the area of the valley of Kathmandu? Where do they live in Nepal?
Yes, in a valley. Yes.
In the valley.
Yes.
But the 2 children are safe. When you look at what's going on here, and you're living here, and actually this is a question to you also, the ambassador. Many Nepalese people living here, I'm assuming, are very terrified about what's going on with their families over there.
That's correct. Many Nepalese people living here, around 6,000, some 5,500 in the field of caregiving, and maybe some 500 in the field of agriculture.
Yes.
Some are students, agriculture students. They are, of course, very much worried and very much terrified. But for some time, it was difficult to contact. But now I think they are in telephone contact. Yes. At least now they know the situation.
Yeah.
The boon of modern this communication. They are in contact and they are in touch with us also. We are trying to give them assurances what we can do.
Obviously.
We can just pray and we can just I think give strength to each other.
Now this and quickly in terms of a week before this happened.
Yes.
A week before this happened, there was a commission, a group of people of geographers that came to that arrived in Nepal to look at what can be done in the event of an earthquake. Because I think the Nepalese were afraid, and that was a week before this earthquake. What do you think should be done for the future of Nepal?
In fact, about the Nepal is in the area of this seismic zone, earthquake prone zone. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Now I think in future we have to be more careful in building, especially in building houses. And using materials to build houses, we have to be careful. Certain standards to be followed. For some time, I think some environmentalists and geologists have been suggesting that. But those houses were already built. Yes. Those historical houses were already built. Those historical properties were already built. Maybe I think in the future we have to learn. We must learn lesson from this kind of disaster. And maybe in the future we have to adopt such measures so that such kind of disaster would not affect our houses in the future.
Sunita, I want to ask you. I know you spoke to your family. I know you spoke to your children, but it must be incredibly hard to be far away from them.
Very much. We never thought we are not ready, and nobody can imagine. Unbelievable. This is really this situation we never imagined. So we are facing now, and as Excellency said, that we are getting support and for rescue, for doctors, for everything, and we are very thankful. We hope will be better, yes.
Do you want to go back? Don't you wish you were there now?
Right now, I want to go.
You want to go? Do you think you'll be going?
It's worse situation, but I hope it's getting better. So I'm thinking right now I'm not going, yes.
How old are your children?
My daughter is 14 years and my son 9 years old.
And they're okay?
Yes, okay. They're okay.
It's an important thing. I'm hoping that you two can stay with me for 2 more minutes because we have also the international effort to help Nepal. Joining us via Skype from Geneva is UNHCR spokesperson for Asia, Babar Balak. Mr. Balak, good morning to you.
Very good morning to you and to other panelists as well.
No, definitely. This is the ambassador of Nepal to Israel, and Sunita Rai, who has family in Nepal. I want to ask you, how desperate is the situation right now? I think many of the world people do not realize that an earthquake is just where the disaster begins. And, and it's the humanitarian crisis, I'm assuming, that is on the mind of the UNHCR right now. What is the situation in Nepal? What does it need?
You have put it very correctly. In areas, it seems to be utter devastation. The worst earthquake that Nepal has seen since 1934. So as you heard about millions being affected by thousands dead, other thousands that are severely injured, and the needs are huge. There are needs for food, water, shelter, and medication. And the scale is just growing. I mean, the number of dead and injured that we are talking right now, this is now in the third day or the fourth day from the earthquake itself. And as you heard, that many areas in remote locations haven't been reached so far.
Right.
So the fears are that this number could grow. And what needs to be on the ground is a quick response in terms of relief and humanitarian aid that's badly needed.
Is there enough international assistance in your mind, money pledged towards that cause? And also the terrifying number that we're hearing of approximately 1 million children that seem to be in distress. That's a number that UNICEF is putting out.
Yeah, that's correct. And also everyone is affected likewise with it. There are scenes of people tenting and camping outside. Aftershocks and tremors and jolts are still coming there, and the weather is not helping. I was just checking the weather forecast for Kathmandu. It's rain and rain till the coming 5-6 days.
Jesus.
So that's not going to help as well. But the UN, United Nations, and UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency that I work for, stand in solidarity with Nepal in these times of grief, and we are doing our utter best to help. What UNHCR has done, we have a presence since 4 or 5 decades in Nepal. Nepal has been a generous host for refugees. Many refugees who are from Bhutan have been in Nepal, in the eastern parts that we have been, or Nepal has been hosting them in 2 camps. So what we had our warehouses where we had plastic sheets, solar lamps, and other items. So we opened up and emptied the warehouses. This morning, my colleagues from Damak, a town in eastern Nepal, from there, UNHCR staff are accompanying these relief items to 3 hilly areas just to go and see and also distribute aid as we were requested by authorities. And as you asked how the response is, yes, the response has been immense as well. A lot of aid flights are getting in. Nepal is a landlocked country. So we hope the picture will clear up actually in the next 48 hours.
And amen to that. Mr. Balaka joining us from Geneva. Thank you so much for giving us this information. His Excellency Pralan Kumar Prasad, thank you for being with us in studio. And Sunita, obviously, I very much am glad to hear that your children and your family are safe.
Thank you.
And I hope you keep in touch with them and hopefully see them soon. Yes. Thank you for being.
Thank you very much for
thank you
giving us this opportunity to put our views. Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully the world will stay attuned to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we move along.
Okay, bye.
Representatives of more than 150 countries convened in New York City last night for the 2015 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty Conference. The meeting, which is held every 5 years, is attended by all the signatories of the 1970 Pact. On the agenda this year is the issue of arms modernization by nuclear powers, which has many worried that such efforts are incompatible with the Pact's goal of minimizing nuclear weapons. Other items on the table were the humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons, the containment of weapons-grade fissile material, a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East, and of course stopping other countries, as well as terrorist groups, from joining the nuclear club. But of course this is a meeting high on the agenda and on the minds of everyone as we're looking straight towards June and a possible Iranian deal. And of course, before we discuss this and break it, let's take a look at the following report that explains the fundamental core of that meeting and break it down from there.
Since the Cold War ended, one of the most burning international relations issues has been continuing the prevention of nuclear proliferation, as evidenced by the ongoing negotiations between Western powers and Iran. But as a major non-proliferation conference opened in New York Monday, the historic treaty is being challenged. 45 years after its inception, did it really manage to curb the spread of nuclear technology? A delegation of Iranian diplomats led by Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who is also the country's chief nuclear negotiator, is attending the summit.
We firmly believe that any use or threat of use of nuclear weapons would be a crime against humanity and a violation of the principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law, in particular international humanitarian law.
On the sidelines, Zarif is scheduled to meet with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry for the first time since their marathon talks in Lausanne, Switzerland, set the parameters of an emerging nuclear deal. Another country at the center of attention is Israel, which is participating as an observer nation after a 20-year absence. Assumed to have the Middle East's sole nuclear arsenal and having never signed on the Non-Proliferation Treaty, Israel has stayed away from such gatherings since 1995, both in order to shelter itself from criticism and because of the group's perceived bias against it. However, Israeli officials say this particular NPT conference is a chance to build bridges with Arab countries that likewise oppose the nuclear framework reached with Tehran.
Joined in studio by I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalev and, of course, by Dr. Emily Landau of the INSS. Good morning to both of you. Tal, why did Israel attend this time around?
Well, this time around, Israel decided to attend because of the quote-unquote regional opportunities or regional threats. Yeah. It depends how you look at them. But Israel decided that this would be a way to send a message to other moderate Arab countries that there is room for dialogue on regional security. But this is a plea that has been coming out of Israel for the past few years. Since the previous review conference of the NPT, since 2010, there has been an attempt to create some kind of dialogue on some of the demands and some of the requirements that come up in these kind of summits on a Middle East free weapon of mass destruction free zone. This has been a process that has been in the makings in the past few years, and there was even dialogue. There was some kind of preliminary dialogue between Israeli officials and officials from Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Egypt. It has been going on, but then that broke down after Operation Protective Edge. So actually, the Arab states and the Arab countries and the Arab League are arriving at this conference with a lot of steam to put out both on Israel and on the United States, who they perceive as backing Israel. So in any case, Israel decided that being there would be, even as an observer, would send a different message than not being there at all, and probably perceived that it would not be at the center of the attention, and the attempts to single out Israel because of its alleged nuclear program would not be at the top of the agenda. They might have been wrong, because it seems like Mohammad Javad Zarif definitely is putting Israel's alleged nuclear arsenal at the top of the agenda. And pushing the call for Israel to join the NPT.
To join the NPT. Would Israel join? I mean, would that change? Actually, Emily, Dr. Landau of the INSS, when we see Israel there and we hear Zarif saying whatever he's saying, all of this, also, I guess both of you would agree with me, is leading up to June. It's all these tit-for-tats of little diplomatic moves. Can Israel join the NPT that way? I mean, why didn't we sign the, we didn't ratify the agreement.
No, we never signed it.
We never signed the agreement, exactly. Shouldn't it do that, actually?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, the reason why Israel never joined the NPT is, I think, because Israel is assumed to have crossed the nuclear threshold somewhere around the late 1960s, and probably before even the NPT was opened for signature. I think Israel made the calculation at the time that it was not going to join an international treaty and then cheat on it. And therefore, it took the decision to remain outside the NPT, even though Israel has paid a price for staying out of the NPT. In other words, states that join the NPT get benefits, right? They get benefits, cooperation on civilian nuclear issues, which Israel didn't benefit from because of its decision. Israel's, nuclear policy is based basically on the creation of an insurance policy for its continued survival. And that's very real. It's not just, a phrase or rhetoric. This is why it was conceived back in the 1950s. This has always been the rationale. This was the rationale behind the agreement that was reached with the Americans in 1969, which actually created Israel's policy of ambiguity. It's a policy of being low-key, restrained, and very responsible.
Isn't it a policy, though? Yes, but isn't the policy that at this day and age, specifically at this time leading up to June, and even if Israel was sitting there as observers, is slightly problematic? Leading up to June and overall deals that, and we all know the deal that we're talking about, that are about to be signed or might be signed?
Look, first of all, it's only problematic if you're blind to the fact that when we relate to nuclear issues, we have to also relate to context. We have to relate to the country in question. Israel and Iran are not the same in any respect. Israel has a record of being an assumed nuclear state for over 40 years, a record of restraint and responsibility, a record of being purely defensive in the nuclear realm, a record of so many conventional wars that have been fought, unfortunately, with the nuclear issue never being put on the agenda, even in 1973 when there was thinking that Israel was
annihilation in the Yom Kippur War.
This is a very clear record. And also, even if you're only looking at the nuclear issue, there are so many questions with regard to the deal that might be secured with Iran. There's so many holes in what we know already that, I mean, Israel has actually all the more reason to remain with its current policy and not to even, think about changing that.
And the fact is that Israel has been seeking cooperation through this international forum, through an international forum that has something to do with disarmament, has something to do with non-proliferation, and has been trying to seek dialogue. It just wants to do so while it is assured that this will not only be about singling out Israel, and that has been the case in the past few years because of the natural Arab bloc against Israel. There is room for discussion. That is what Israel is saying. There is room for discussion. There is room for dialogue, but we need to do it on a different term and one that assures us that we're talking about regional security and confidence-building measures and not only about non-conventional weapons.
Right.
That's one of the things. And the other thing is that the Iranians, the fact that we are talking now about the Israel joining the NPT is part of an Iranian attempt to divert the agenda from their nuclear program. This has been, it was declared quite clearly by Mohammad Javad Zarif as he arrived in New York that this will be one of his attempts, and it seems like it's doing well.
That it's working that way. Sadly, we have a second.
Oh, okay. Well, just to underscore what you said, there have been 5 informal meetings that have taken place 2013, 2014. Israel has participated in every one with high-level representation. That's a message that should be on the table at the RevCon.
Well. Emil, Dr. Landau, thank you for being with us. First, the news. Stay with us. When we go back, we go to the Golan Heights. Stick around. Good morning, I-24 News Morning Edition. The place you should be on this April 28th, 2015.
Thank you.
That would be Ami Kaufman, who keeps me in check, because I have a tendency to forget what year it is, but also to give you the news you missed while scanning the headlines. And Ami, what did we miss?
Well, in the States, it looks like Baltimore is pretty much turning into a new Ferguson. Riots after the funeral of a 25-year-old man, Freddie Gray, black man who died in police custody after he was arrested. Freddie was arrested on April 12th, and he died a week later after due to some injuries that he occurred in his neck, so spinal injuries. I think we have a report.
We have a report. Let's see. We have a report. Let's take a look at what's going on in Baltimore overnight.
Chaos and uncertainty tonight in Baltimore. Maryland's governor declared a state of emergency and called up the National Guard.
These acts of violence and destruction of property cannot and will not be tolerated.
Demonstrators today threw rocks and bricks at police. Officers responded with a show of force, tear gas, and arrests. A CVS pharmacy looted, later set on fire. Police cars burning.
Too many people have spent generations building up this city for it to be destroyed by thugs.
15 Baltimore police officers were injured by flying debris. 2 are still in the hospital.
They have broken bones. One of them is unresponsive. This is not okay.
Tonight, dozens of clergy marching arm in arm through the streets near that looted CVS, urging calm. The demonstrations came just hours after an emotional funeral service for Freddie Gray. Around 3,000 people packed a church in West Baltimore to mourn Gray, who died a week ago from injuries he sustained while in the custody of the Baltimore police.
This is our moment to get at truth. This is our moment to make it right.
Baltimore City schools will be closed tomorrow, and a curfew will go into effect at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. In the meantime, city and state officials are urging people to stay off the streets.
You know, I mean, looking at the video that you gestured to the video of him being taken, of Gray taken.
You can see there that he's already limping. His left leg is not moving. He can't put any weight on it. And police officials on Friday, this past Friday, admitted that they should have given him medical attention before they put him in the van. Apparently he had a neck injury that they just didn't pay attention to, and he later died from that.
And the cause of the arrest was what originally?
Okay, the man made eye contact with a police officer, and that was it, and he started to run.
Right.
They pursued him, and they caught him. He had a knife on him. Which is not, by the way...
No, it's not a felony.
It's not a felony.
Right.
You can have a knife on you in the States as long as you're not, of course, stabbing someone with it. But he wasn't doing anything with it. And they dragged him, and the police are maintaining that they did not use any excessive force, but I don't think we have any video of that. But you can see that he was in some need of medical attention in that video.
The thing is, when you look at Ferguson this year, when you look at, I think this is already the 3rd, 4th incident.
More, right.
More. It's more than that. That's true. Indicative also that video of him being dragged away. It's like the video of, and I don't want to, just, my memory fails me when it comes to the names of black men dying in custody, in American custody.
Well, of course, Michael Brown in Ferguson, Eric Garner in New York, who's the man whose last words were, "I can't breathe."
Thank you.
And I just want to add that Loretta Lynch, who was the newly sworn-in U.S. Attorney General, she on Monday became the first, America's first black woman to take the job, condemned the senseless act of violence in Baltimore, the people who are rioting. And Hillary Clinton, who was, of course, running for president, said that she was praying for peace and safety.
And, you know, I'm going to say something banal that I think is on the minds of many viewers or many people looking at this. This is not new to the United States. It's terrifyingly sad when there's an African-American president in place on his, second term. We're looking at these very reminiscent to the 60s scenes of just, the racial divide there, very much embedded in the American society.
Right.
But yes, moving along.
Seems like something has to be done. It's not stopping.
Then the question is what?
Right. Yeah. Moving to our region again, Haaretz has a report about the Undersecretary of State Wendy Sherman, who is saying that it'll be hard to support Israel in the UN if it keeps stepping back from the two-state solution, as Benjamin Netanyahu did recently during the election. In a meeting with some
Jewish... It back again.
And then took it back again, but that didn't work with the Americans.
No,
they didn't
fly.
Didn't fly. Yeah. Wendy Sherman said that they're going to see what the new government does when it is eventually formed. And to quote her, says, if the new Israeli government is seen to be stepping back from its commitment to a two-state solution, that will make our job in the international arena much tougher. It will be harder for us to prevent internationalizing the conflict. And the reason I think she's saying this...
It's not even a veiled threat. The reason she's saying it is...
She's saying it's very important because right now, in the background, the French are trying to get mustering up support for their own initiative in the UN. There will be some sort of solution, including borders, swapping land, and stuff like that. And I think this is kind of a threat that America might not use their usual veto if this eventually gets to the Security Council.
They've basically been saying that, I think, over the course of the last several months, put aside the tit-for-tat of Obama and Netanyahu, who have made no secret of their lack of love between each other. Yeah, but it is indicative of where that's heading. And I wonder, the million-dollar question is anybody in the Israeli administration listening?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Yes. Okay.
And just really quickly, another report on the UN. It is a UN report. Israel is responsible for hitting 7 facilities during the war. That's according to a UN report.
Right.
And in those hits, 44 people were killed and over 200 were injured. But amongst those 3 facilities, the UN admits that Palestinians were stocking weapons in those facilities.
Exactly. I saw.
And they were also very angry about that. So just a quick.
No, it's great. Both sides to blame as usual.
Right.
Yes. And.
I live in Bat Yam. which is a suburb of Tel Aviv.
But stop. I have to do an impression of you to you. I live in Bat Yam. Okay, yes.
I'm going to look at that in the video again. A suburb south of Tel Aviv. Its mayor, former mayor, Shlomo Lachiani, will be going to jail for...
Yay, another person in public service going to jail.
3 counts of breach of trust. Why is this important? First of all, there are basically 3
because
reasons.
you live in Bat Yam.
Well,
I mean,
of course.
There's that.
But
yes.
Lachiani is joining a long list of not only public officials, but specifically mayors in Israel who are being convicted of fraud and bribery and various counts in the last few years. I think also it's important because this is a case of another Mizrahi politician who is going to jail.
Sephardic, you mean?
A Sephardic
politician.
Sephardic politician, and there are a lot of claims by Sephardi people that they are being, singled out. And this
I don't know. Ehud Olmert is of Ashkenaz.
That's true. You could say Ehud Olmert, and also not only that, you could say that Lopolyansky, the mayor of Jerusalem, is going to 6 years of jail, and that's a lot more than. But the charges, I think, are a lot more grave. The big difference as well that Lachiani is probably one of the most popular mayors and politicians Israel has known. He is considered by not only Bat Yami people to be a really good mayor. Now you might laugh. But
I'm
he was
not.
considered...
I mean, there's like the second part of my brain just whispered into my ear that apparently he was with Dancing in the Stars Israel.
He was with Dancing in the Stars Israel. I did not see any videos of that. I'm not sure if he was good or not.
Yes.
But he was. If you go to Bat Yam today and ask people about Lachiani, they adore him. He really brought the city around.
You know what? It's an interesting thing. All the time we have for this, I'm locking you in the studio so you don't go back to Bat Yam just so quickly.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, as we move along. Tensions on Israel's northern border with Syria remain high this morning after a series of security incidents that saw IDF strike militant targets both on the border and deep within Syrian territory. Let's first go to the following report to see where things stand on Israel's northern border, and then straight live to the region. Let's take a look.
Majdal Shams, a Druze village located in Israel's northern Golan Heights and just kilometers away from the raging civil war in Syria. According to conflicting media reports, either the IDF or the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front struck weapons caches just across the border before dawn. This just days after another alleged Israeli operation targeted long-range missiles in Syria, possibly Scuds, en route to Hezbollah. Meanwhile, on Sunday night, 4 suspected militants entered Israeli territory from Syria, reportedly armed with explosives. An Israeli reconnaissance unit spotted the men and neutralized the attackers as they attempted to plant the bomb.
I heard, like everyone else, that people were killed on the front lines of the Syrian civil war. Israel claims it tried to cause damage, but we don't know the truth.
Family members of 2 of the assailants currently live in Majdal Shams and are mourning their losses. They, as well as many residents of this town, are loyal to Syria.
All parties are responsible for the killing of innocent and civilians, including the Israeli side.
As it stands, it is unclear which organization, if any, the attackers belong to, or what the motivation was for the attack. Many residents of Majdal Shams did not want to speak with us today or any news organization about members of the Druze community involved in such an attack. This has been a very united community throughout the ages, and to either delve into pro-Assad Syria talk on one hand or pro-Israel talk on the other could perhaps spark a divide in the community. I-24 News, Danny Swibel, Golan Heights, Israel-Syria border.
And we go straight live now to Morning Edition's editor, Ron Friedman. Ron, good morning. You're standing there in Majdal Shams. That's straight on that tip of the Israeli-Syrian border. How are people who are living there, given all this commotion? I don't need to explain to you what's going on in Syria, that's for sure. But right there at the tip of the spear, so to speak.
Hi, good morning, Yael. I'm in the studio. Let me just briefly explain exactly where I'm standing. This is the village of Majdal Shams. We're at a rooftop of one of the residents' houses here. Behind me, you can see the village, Druze village, and on the right, where you see it turns from building into greenery, that's Syria already. So we're really close. The explosion that we heard about in the recent report, that took place just over the hill. We can't see the exact location, but it's less than a kilometer away from here. The attack caught people here in Majd al-Shams by surprise. Like Danny said in the report, we don't know who the attackers, which organization they belong to. We do know that they were of Druze origin, which adds an interesting twist to the whole story. I mean, this city, the Majd al-Shams, the village that we're in, used to be a Syrian community, and then it was conquered by Israel in 1967, together with the rest of the Golan Heights. The residents here are really split. Their identity is split between loyalty to Syria and the Assad regime that rules it, loyalty to their own community, to their own the Druze people, both in Syria, but as well as their kin here in Israel. But they watch the news just like everybody else. They see what's happening in Syria, what's been happening there for the last 4 years. They've seen Assad strike at his own citizens. They've seen different rebel groups come up and try to take over territory. And that really is reflected when you talk and when you meet people here. Danny said that the people weren't willing to speak to them. That goes for us too. I mean, people are hesitant to discuss the situation, especially with the media. But it's a mixed bag. I mean, on the way here, we passed by a house where they were actually mourning the two of the terrorists, or two of the militants that died in the Israeli attack. Outside the house, you could see a huge Syrian flag, and people were there, sharing their feelings with the family members. And then opposite the other side of the street, you can see Israeli flags, or you can see rebel group flags. It's the whole Syrian conflict.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating, Ron, because you're explaining it. First of all, I don't want you to, I'm almost about to ask you to jump back behind you and not cross into Syria. But it's fascinating that you're basically standing in a city that, in essence, is almost Syrian. And it is indicative of, I think, the people in that area of what's going on right now inside Syria. When it comes to the attacks, though, do stay with us, Ron, the attacks themselves, and not just the border incident, Tal Shalev joining us in studio, we need to remind our viewers this is not the first time Israel has attacked also within Syria. There's one IDF airstrike that was supposedly by the Israelis. Israel not afraid, is the upper echelon of Israel not afraid to be dragged into that conflict with these pinpointed attacks?
Well, Israel believes that by these and first of all, we should distinguish between these two attacks.
Definitely.
One was on the border. It was a thwarting of an alleged attack on Israeli soldiers, and the other one was an attack allegedly perpetrated by Israel inside Syria. So these are two different incidents, but of course everything is connected to the same arena. And Israel is concerned from what is going on the Syrian border, but it seems like Israeli officials seem that it can be contained, that the situation can be contained based on mutual deterrence. It is clear that Israel operates, if it allegedly operates, over the Syrian border when it's inside Syrian territory. It does so when it's clear that it has to do with weapon transfer or any change to the strategic balance in the region. That is when that is Israel's policy. That has been Israel's long-standing policy. And of course, when an attack is planned on IDF soldiers, then that is thwarted. I think there is a feeling that the mutual deterrence, there is at least some kind of assurance amongst Israeli officials that at the moment it seems like it can be contained. But of course, there's the alerts are high, and there is a lot of attention being diverted to the north at the moment, to the northern border.
No, definitely the thin red line, so to speak. Tal Shalev in studio. Ron Friedman in northern Israel. Thank you for being with us this morning. When we get back, something entirely different. It's not war, it's vegan. Yes. Stay with us. First, the news. April 28th. We're very excited. We're breathing heavily. This is still the morning edition I-24 News, and Tel Aviv is well known for its beaches, great weather, but the city's latest claim of fame is vegan cuisine. Let's take a look at the report.
Vodka, loud beats, and green vegetables. Considered one of the trendiest places in Tel Aviv, the bar and restaurant Nanuchka has been transformed overnight into an entirely vegan restaurant. The owner, Nana Schreier, a well-known figure in Tel Aviv nightlife and a veteran of a reality show, had to face the grumbling complaints of her Georgian customers, who like to wine and dine and also happen to be big meat lovers.
I received quite a lot of criticism. Some people told me that they're waiting to buy my space because my restaurant would go bankrupt. Others told me I was stupid. The chef who was here for 7 years is gone. But I'm responsible for the food I serve my customers, so if I think that it's bad, I'm not going to put it on their plate just for the money.
Before Nanuchka, other famous places in Tel Aviv made the transition to veganism, such as the famous Orna and Ella, the restaurant featured in Eitan Fox's film The Bubble. Nowadays, there are numerous restaurants in Tel Aviv that don't serve meat, fish, or any other animal product, such as milk and eggs. But how can these ingredients be replaced? The answers are all revealed in the Vegan Cooking Workshop.
Becoming vegan is not depressing nor depriving. On the contrary, I gained a lot by becoming vegan. My cooking has become more diverse and interesting.
Many Israelis became vegan after watching a presentation by Gary Yurovsky, an American veganism advocate who condemns the exploitation of animals.
People here are very easy to change because there is not, unlike France, for example, there is a long tradition of culinary tradition. You know, it goes way back and it's very, very conservative. Here, everything is open.
Yes, we're very excited here. Tel Aviv, well known for its beaches, great weather, but the city's latest claim of fame is in its culinary prowess. Did I say that right? Prowess?
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Ami. The Daily Meal has ranked the city as the #1 destination in the world for vegan travelers. Wow, I'm having a hard time speaking. That means, I suppose, tofu for all. Oh, Satan? No, not Satan. Satan?
Satan? I don't know how you pronounce it. I honestly don't know how you say it.
People who eat Satan. Oh, right.
Satan. Satan?
Satan. Satan, thank you. To further discuss this and taste, we are joined in studio by food journalist and creator of Vegans on Top. That's the name of it?
Yeah.
Vegans on Top blog. Always to read. Good morning to you.
Good
and
morning.
By the owner of Zakaim Restaurant and an expert in vegan cuisine, Chef Harel Zakaim. I've heard so much about your restaurant. Let's first, of course, look at the food on this table. Hold on, bring me that piece of heart that looks very green. Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. This is, what do you call this in English?
Fennel?
It's a fennel, right? Yeah. It's a fennel. And it's thought that the fennel a little bit looks like your heart, right? There's the whole limit of there of it looks like your heart, not to be confused with my breast. But you know, I think, Ori, I will start with you. To meat lovers, as myself, which I have to admit, I'm sorry, I was raised on meat. If it's up to me, I would like the steak on the plate to still move. Okay? And I know it's horrifying. I know it's horrifying to you, but, you know, I'm of German descent. Tel Aviv, loving the vegan whatnot. How do you market this, you know, to a city that is so up to speed on when it comes to, you know, very top cuisine? It's no secret. How do you market veganism to, you know, to people?
I think that people who loves good food and chefs who knows how to treat their ingredients, they can make an amazing dishes just by using, you know, also, you know, fruits and vegetables and lentils and grains. And we're living in the Mediterranean, and we have a lot of beautiful, you know, ingredients that are coming from our ground land, and we really can do, you know, fabulous dishes. And the leading chefs of Israel today shows that, because they're putting vegan dishes into their regular menus, and people, not only vegans, choosing to eat them because it's tasty, because it looks delicious, it's colorful, and I think that much more people think of their food differently today. True. I mean, we want to eat good. I used to eat everything, and I wasn't born as a vegan. Okay. On the contrary.
What happened, Oli?
I decided I don't want to, you know, to finance, to give my money to this horrible industry. But I said
feel like
I want to. Well, I felt that I was a terrible person too when I woke up and understood what I'm promoting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a food journalist. I was telling people how good meat is. Okay.
Yeah.
So and then I decided I want to make a change, but not to become a victim myself. I want to eat good. I want to have fun. I want to have good food. And we have here everything to do that. And so I challenge few of the chefs to start, doing.
It's you. It's all you, isn't it?
It's not only me. Many people did that, but really the results we can see today after 3 and 4 years. Then in every restaurant in Israel we have beautiful vegan choices that everybody loves.
Now, Chef Harel Zakeim, first, before we continue, what is this? It looks fabulous, by the way. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the portions we served at Zakeim, and for me, it's the most excited dish at the menu.
Why?
This is stuffed cabbage. And when I was a little boy, my grandmother used to make it for me. And for me to serve it for a customer, for a guest in the restaurant, it's the highest level I can reach. So this.
See, I'm not a chef because, for me, that would be like Polish chicken soup, and I can't react. Okay.
Well, this stuffed cabbage is packed with flavors. There's like.
And it's stuffed with rice. It's stuffed with.
Rice and many kind of leaves. There's raisins and palms in it. A bit of pomegranate. Many types of flavor, and
looking at Ami,
and of course the king of the Persian kitchen, the Persian lemon. It's basically a dried type of lemon.
I've seen. And Zakeim is actually a very successful restaurant in Tel Aviv, isn't it? In many ways.
Yeah, it is. And I think that the biggest success is that approximately 65% of our guests are non-vegan. So this is for me the biggest success we can reach. Yeah.
No, entirely. But do you think maybe? And I'm asking this out loud because I remember Tel Aviv in the 80s. Everybody ate, creamed dishes. Okay, the biggest fad was everything had cheese on it. Remember that was the 80s.
Right.
I think the 90s was passion fruit. Everything had passion fruit in it, right? And that's like every restaurant had passion.
Food has fashion.
Fashion, exactly. So isn't veganism a fad?
No.
I think it's not because I think we can see a real movement, it's not only about food. This is a social and cultural change.
Right.
Because when people become more aware of their choices of food and think about who they hurt, if their animals, the animals are hurt on the way, if they're hurting their bodies, their health, if they're hurting the environment, we take into consideration more values than only what is tasty and not tasty. So it's something that is really deep we're dealing with, and the result is the beautiful dishes, but it's really a deep movement, a deep change in Israeli society.
And Tel Aviv, I think, is leading the way in that. It's also, it's something that it's going across the world. Although I would bet to ask the question of what about this poor fennel? Doesn't he have a heart?
It looks like a heart.
It looks like a heart, and don't tell me.
Science has decided who feels everyone who has a brain and a nerve system, and I think this fennel is still a vegetable.
But Ori, one of the most successful blogs in Israel. I want to thank you for being here. You're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
And Avi Zakeim as well. The restaurant is Zakeim in Tel Aviv, and it does look and smell amazing. We're going to dip into it outdoors. But that said, it is the time to move to the viral spiral that is Ami Kaufman and the web review. Stick around, it's very funny.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm definitely coming to this restaurant, by the way.
And
we're going to stay with vegan.
Yes.
The vegan issue. Al Gore announced recently with the singer Pharrell that he is going to start doing the Live Earth Music Festival again. But PETA,
as long as Al Gore doesn't sing,
these are concerts that talk
Promote.
about climate change. But PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, are calling him a hypocrite because he is not committing to serve only vegan food at the concerts.
Okay. That to the man who invented the internet.
Right, and they've had this transfer of emails, and Gore isn't really answering, and they're calling him a hypocrite because in a way it's kind of true, because Live Earth said in 2006 that the most effective thing you can do to reduce your carbon footprint is to not eat meat, because the livestock industry is one of the biggest
churners of
gases and harmful gases.
I have to say, because I'm looking at this and I think Israel, when back to this topic, is a country that, or the Middle East, has fabulous fruit, fabulous vegetables, so much more so than the rest of the world. One of the reasons I moved back here from the States was because I couldn't eat the vegetables there. Right. But they taste like silicone. I don't see this flying completely in the States, I have to tell you. I think that the American society, well, who knows? It's just me.
I don't know. I think the vegan trend is really huge in the States right now.
Not in America.
It's growing, and I think that the more people will be aware, it's more of a lifestyle there. It's more of a health issue than ethical issue.
Exactly.
But it is growing, and I went to New York, and there are so many vegan restaurants. I couldn't decide where to go.
Iowa.
I'm sure it's really big. I'm sure it's really big on the West Coast and places like Portland and Seattle.
It will be different.
Avi, you would do great there. Sorry, Harel. What am I saying? Harel, you would do great there on the coast, but in Middle America, who knows?
Right.
Yes, and
sticking with fruits.
Yes.
This is here just because of this wonderful, wonderful headline, and it's going viral. Venezuelan woman earns apartment after hitting president with a mango. This is a true story from People magazine. President of Venezuela is 52. He was driving a bus through an assembled crowd, and this woman, Marlene Olivo, she's 54, she tossed the mango at him, and she'd written on the mango her name, her phone number, and she wrote, "If you can, call me."
Wow.
And the president of Venezuela said, "Yeah."
Was it written on the mango?
It was written on the mango.
That's a great pickup technique.
Yeah. She said, I didn't have paper available at the moment. I had a mango.
I use what I had. Right. For example, if I have this fennel, if I have this fennel, I can just write. Yeah, okay.
You could have had an apartment in Venezuela with that fennel.
You had me at the mango. Yeah. And
on to New York, the New World Trade Center. It has some 5 elevators that go up to the observatory level.
Definitely.
And they are showing. Once you close the doors, it's a 47-second ride to the 102nd floor, and they're showing on the windows what New York used to look like over a period of 500 years, and you can see.
And it's amazing.
We have a short clip of it.
We have a short clip of it. It's an amazing thing. Let's have a look. Okay, sadly we don't have it, but it is an amazing clip. Okay.
It's an amazing clip. You'll have to, you can look at it on the New York Times webpage, and you'll see actually a glimpse of the old World Trade Center before, of course, it was hit by
exactly, and then kind of disappears.
Now, you are married, and you've been to IKEA, and you're still married, I think. Because it turns out...
Listen, there are 2 things I cannot stand, okay? IKEA, let's open that for a discussion. I have to say this, even though almost every bit of furniture is IKEA in my house. I hate IKEA. Doesn't everybody have a nervous breakdown when they go there? Don't you have a nervous when you walk in there and your heart starts beating?
And it turns out that a lot of couples have a lot of huge fights when they go to IKEA or when they come back from IKEA.
Thank you.
That's true.
It's happened to you.
I also been there. Yeah.
I was in IKEA with my husband while being pregnant. You can imagine how that ended.
Right.
Yeah. He's lost an eye.
So that's an interesting thing from the Wall Street Journal. And from the Harper's Bazaar, this is a woman called Matilda Kahl. She works at a huge ad agency called Saatchi & Saatchi, and for the last 3 years, she has been wearing the exact same clothes because she was waking up every morning and saying, I don't want to deal with this thing about what I'm going to wear. The men have it easy.
So she dressed up like a waiter.
Men have this thing, she says, men have already done it. They have this thing called a suit. Well, I'm going to do this too. I'm going to wear a white shirt, black pants, and a little bow tie, string bow tie. And her workers, after 3 years, her co-workers said, you know what, this is amazing. We are all going to dress up just like
Dress like Matilda Day.
This is all of Saatchi & Saatchi employees.
No, it's fabulous, although I have to say they all look like waiters. They do.
There is something to that.
They all do look like waiters.
Do we have time for one last one?
One last one, yes.
Okay,
quick.
this is my favorite new Instagram hashtag. My kid can't eat this. It shows pictures of parents who put up things with the kids who give them reasons for why they can't eat these things.
Amen.
For example, my kid can't eat this because I cut it in half and put butter on it.
Yes.
And all these really, really weird reasons. Just go to this Instagram and see. And if, of course, you have kids yourself.
No, if you have kids yourself, you can realize that, you're like, I can't eat this tomato. It's got things in it. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's called seeds.
It's red.
It's red, yes. Oli and Harael, thank you so much. I'm going to wolf this down and lick the plate down outside of the studio. Ami, of course, here. When we get back, sports results, dramatic, NBA. Yes, I said it all first, the news. Good morning, I-24 News Morning Edition on this April 28th, 2015, where I'm joined in the studio by gorgeous people. So, sorry, I had to.
Now.
Exactly, it's the end of the show. We've got Danny Swibel looking spiffy. Is that even a word? Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Nice
It is. I think it is a word. Okay, and Roni Stav, who is Roni Stav. Yes. And after that introduction, Danny, you are here with the sports news. I saw you salivating yesterday over the NBA. Why?
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, I just want to say, I know you're not supposed to have a bias in journalism. I've been accused of being biased towards my Chicago Bulls.
Really? Yeah?
Also with the red and black colors, I definitely got the double dose of that today.
You wore the uniform.
Yes. Or I didn't, because I'm not a biased journalist.
No, you're not.
Right?
You're not.
I just decided to wear it.
Yes.
It came to me this morning.
Okay. With that in mind, I'm going to talk about the Chicago Bulls.
Yes, Chicago Bulls.
I woke up this morning very upset. Very upset at them.
Why?
Because now they're finally starting to have a team. Derrick Rose, their best player, has been out on and off for 3 years because of knee injuries. He's finally back. They're starting to gel as a team. They were up 3-0. It's 4 games to win the series, and they just choked.
No, I love that how he explains to us. Because I was like, oh, God, I've known. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Is Michael Jordan not there anymore?
Michael Jordan is still in my heart, but he's not on the team anymore, sadly. So right now they're playing like garbage the last 2 games.
Oh, no.
I woke up very upset. So
I have to say, this is a true fan. They suck.
They're garbage.
They're garbage. I love them. Yes, my sister, my daughter, my daughter.
I go back and forth with this, but they should win the series. They are the better team. The Bucks are just a young, very physical team, so they've definitely shown their defensive might against the Bulls.
Right.
Now, once the Bulls win, if they can get it together, they will be playing Cleveland. Now, Cleveland is LeBron's team.
Even I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
David Blatt, we have a lot of connection with that team. So right now, they're the team to beat. Let's face it. LeBron is one of the...
And Cleveland won last year?
So Cleveland actually did not win last year, but LeBron moved to Cleveland.
Thank you. That was
so with him being
now
on
they
Cleveland,
will win.
Wait a minute. Wait a cotton-picking minute. No, they will not
Danny,
win.
the Bulls are garbage.
Well, listen, they got to get the bugs out of their system. This is my hopes. So when they play Cleveland, now this is the problem with Cleveland. They just swept the series 4-0. But one of their second best players, Kevin Love, actually during the game, his shoulder got pulled out of its socket.
Don't look too excited.
Yeah, I was like, oh, poor guy. I was sad on an individual human basis, but I can't lie. I was secretly maybe inside like,
and it was you with the crowbar in the back.
Yeah, I was. Actually, they're looking for me, the police. And so with that in mind, it's going to be when the Bulls advance, which I like to think they will, probably in the next couple of games, they will play Cleveland. Cleveland also is going to be missing one of their other players, a guy named J.R. Smith, who's a bit of a troublemaker, and he actually did his swing move where he hit somebody in the face, so he's suspended 2 games. So the Cleveland Cavaliers...
Swing move.
Cleveland Cavaliers will be without 2 really good players. The Bulls will be without some skill as of late, but I like to think it's going to be a pretty even series if they make it.
What is it with it's like the Boston Red Sox? Am I right in saying that fans of the Boston Red Sox always speak the same way? Like, you're garbage! We love you.
Yeah, we love you, yes. I'm also
is it a Boston thing?
So Boston actually got beat by Cleveland, so they were upset that they were losing. I think that's why the one guy maybe took the guy's shoulder out.
At least they're not biting people like in football.
Oh, or boxing.
Or boxing.
True.
There's that too.
So far, so
but
good.
okay, so that's the Bulls. What else?
Okay, so Bulls and Cleveland, that's going to be a matchup. Now, the number 1 team in the East, we're going to stick with the East, has been Atlanta. Now, coming to the playoffs, they kind of lost some of their momentum that they had throughout the season. So now they're tied up with the Brooklyn team, who was the 8th seed, not very good. good. So it seems like right now in the East, it is Cleveland and the Bulls 1 and 2, and the Atlanta team is just doing it.
Ronnie and I are devastated. We're devastated.
Oh, you're really devastated about the Atlanta team. You're like, oh, the
Actually,
Hawks.
when you were talking about Brooklyn, I was like, oh no, they're not good.
They're a new team. I actually want them to be good. They have a nice new stadium. Yeah, it's kind of exciting.
It's a new Brooklyn team.
Yeah, they were New Jersey, and now they're in Brooklyn.
And now they're Brooklyn.
Actually, Jay-Z, the rapper, was a big owner in Brooklyn. He since sold it because it's a bit of a conflict of interest with some of his other business endeavors.
Okay.
But it's a hot young team, so
I know.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff, and I do want to actually say, just speaking of like little inside stories,
please.
Going to Golden State Warriors on the West. Now, their coach is Steve Kerr, who used to be a Chicago Bull during the Jordan era. Now, his father, Malcolm Kerr, actually was the president at American University in Beirut. He was a journalist during the Civil War in Lebanon for many years, and he actually got killed by a member of Islamic Jihad outside the university, I believe, 1982.
During the Lebanon Civil War.
There's a lot of interesting things connected to the NBA between the people who are not just playing, but some of the owners. So Golden State, that team is the team that is totally dominating the West right now. So whatever happens in this East, whether it's the Bulls or Cleveland or Atlanta, it seems to me they will definitely be playing Golden State. Don't get me on record with that, but it's my hunch.
Actually, we have recorded this.
Oh, no. This got me in trouble before.
We will make sure.
We will replay this. Yeah, we will take you to task on all of this.
Oh, thanks.
I have to tell you, no, fabulous stuff. And I want to, because of the Chicago Bulls, I got to tell you, my memories of them are Bird, right? It's Larry Bird.
Boston Celtics. That was on record, by the way.
It's the same. I was trying not to look like a stupid blonde chick, and that
you were testing me. She was testing me just to make sure I was paying.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and you were. Good job.
Yeah, it worked. But, for here and everything and on the record, Danny Soybel locking you in studio, because we're moving to the fabulous and one and only Roni Stav.
Okay.
Yes.
I was actually excited about the sports today.
Beyond exciting.
And if you want any tips, I'll let you know what games are coming up, and we can watch it, have a beer. Let me know.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
But I love it that, it's like upscale American sports for us little minions in the Middle East. No, we thank you, Danny. We thank you.
We do.
Yes.
We do. And so the dilemma of the day is pink means bad parenting. Pink concerts and pink as a persona means bad parenting.
Stop right now. I'm in so much trouble. Pink the color as well?
No, not Pink the color. Just Pink the singer.
Just Pink
You're
the singer.
fine. You're fine.
Why
You're
does
fine. So here's the story. A New Jersey woman was accused by her ex-husband of bad parenting for bringing her 11-year-old daughter to the So What concert the singer had at December 2013. Now, but in a 37-page-long decision, the New Jersey Superior Court Judge Lawrence R. Jones wrote that the mother in no way, shape, or form exceeded the boundaries of reasonable parental judgment by attending the Pink concert. I think the husband is kind of a putz. I mean, it's like they're saying like
for all of you who are not of Jewish descent.
I thought that's the only word I can say, so I was like, he's a putz.
Danny, how do we explain putz?
Putz is a scoundrel, a silly fool, maybe?
Nice.
I don't know how to describe
He's
it.
a silly fool. He is a silly fool. That's what he is, and full of himself.
I have to say that, but finding an argument on the, for probably clearly a divorce or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like
deeper,
seriously, exactly. It was like he complained against the wife. He accused Pink of promoting sexually suggestive themes and dance performances. Now, it really got me because Pink is all about empowering and like
so what if she wears a bra on stage?
I know, but seriously, because she's talking about diversity and about like a child doesn't have to follow the stream, and all of a sudden it's like, no, you're like sexually suggestive, la 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 la.
And first of all, we have Madonna about 20 years ago.
I know, and it's like enough. She's all about woman empowering, like just. Leave it. But thank you, Judge Jones, for thinking the same
thing. But not only that, I think one would have to lock their kids in a basement nowadays. Everywhere you go, representation, I mean, I don't find this too suggestive. It's basically kids having cell phones. I'm sure that at 11 she's seeing much worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
In other places.
And the mother looked at YouTube clips of the concert before, and she went with the kid.
I said, thank you. That was my next slide. She went with the kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they had fun. The kid went with her mother instead of going into a dark alley with
I
a
think
bunch
we're
of...
scaring Ronnie. Sorry, I think we're scaring Danny here. Like both Ronnie and I are like, she went with the kid.
So good parenting.
Good
Great.
parenting. Moving on.
Moving on, still in bad parenting, look like Mitch Winehouse is not that good of a parent and not that good of a father. So the new, very anticipated, looks like it, the very anticipated documentary about Amy Winehouse is coming out very soon, but looks like Amy's family officially withdrew their support for the film, describing it as unbalanced and misleading. Looks like Mitch, the father, is portrayed there as an irresponsible stage dad who is more concerned with pushing Winehouse to perform than getting her help. And the worst is that the filmmakers accused him of taking money from the Amy Winehouse Foundation, the addiction charity that's set up in his late daughter's name.
I think we have a clip of this, and let's have a look.
Yeah, please.
Singing has always been important to me, but I never thought I'll end up singing, I'll be a singer. I'm not a girl trying to be a star or trying to be anything other than a musician.
How big do you think you're going to be?
I don't think I'm going to be at all famous.
And as we were saying here, the devastation, or Danny and I, all of us, nodding,
Yeah,
when
it was
she died at
heartbreaking.
27, that horrific age that, Joplin, Morrison,
Jimi Hendrix.
It's a terrible club.
It's a terrible club. The 27
Yeah.
Club, exactly.
Yeah.
But the argument there is what against the parents in the film?
So the film shows as if they did nothing in order to help the daughter. At the same time,
But
the
cashed
family
in
was
on her money.
But the family was cooperating with the filmmakers the whole time. So it looks a little. I mean, I don't know. It's heartbreaking either way.
Exactly.
The filmmakers, in a statement, 2 people were saying that we came on board with the full backing of the Winehouse family, and we approached the project with total objectivity. We conducted in the region of 100 interviews with people that knew Amy. The story that the film tells is a reflection of our findings of these interviews. Yeah, it's like no one wins here. I don't know.
No.
It looks like they might press charges against the filmmakers. We'll see what's coming next. But
no, but sad nonetheless. And
and Jay-Z. Let's talk about Jay-Z.
Let's go back to Jay-Z.
Let's go back to Jay-Z and Tidal. Tidal is his new streaming service.
Right.
So basically, it's like any other streaming service. The streaming service is what really made money for the music industry in the past year. It made $1.9 billion. It's the only way to make money.
Wait, stop.
Yeah,
$1.9 billion?
Yeah. But the problem is, does the artist get any money out of it? And that's the major conflict. That's the major problem.
Hasn't that also been I think since the launch of the internet, one of the main things, in contention is music rights and money for the artists.
Yeah.
Okay, so does the artist make money out of this?
Well, so it looks like what Jay-Z launched, he launched it end of March, and he brought on board Madonna and Kanye West and Alicia Keys and Beyonce, obviously, and Rihanna, obviously. All of them are together launching Tidal. Now, the streaming service, it's just like any other streaming service, so just like Spotify and alikes.
Right.
But Spotify and all of those ones, you can get the free of charge service, but with commercials, or you pay $9.99, and then you get it without commercials. This service, you don't get it for free. You get it only for $99 or for $19.99 if you want a better high definition for the clips and better audio and stuff like that.
Or as Danny just whispered, that's expensive.
Yes,
and that is the problem. That exactly is the problem. And people also say, I mean, bringing those artist names, Madonna, Kanye West, Beyonce, they're saying, does the rich just getting richer and the royalties just go to the artists that...
I saw this campaign actually, and they were like, "Oh, Beyonce's getting her money. She's getting her money for this concert." It wasn't a very sympathetic campaign to many.
The PR there was not working very well. And
not only that, the one trivial detail that I know about Beyonce, she was born into money. I got to tell you.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
Beyonce.
that
I think her father is like a big mogul, a record producer back in the 60s or 70s. I hope I'm not making this up because I am a serious journalist, just like Danny Swidell.
It's like Larry Bird on the Bulls.
Chicago.
We all know our details.
Nice one to say. In this Chicago Bulls outfit here. But yeah, Beyonce's getting her money. Thank God.
And the problem is that other artists, Death Cab for Cutie, Mumford & Sons, they're all kind of getting themselves a little bit further away from this project. They're saying, I'm not sure we're getting royalties here. Looks like we're not. They're being super skeptical about it.
I have not been out there for a long time, so I have to trail back and ask, Death Camp for what?
Death as in death, and then cab as in taking a cab, and then for cutie, which means that you're a cutie.
You would actually like it. It sounds like a little rough and tough, but it's actually a very sweet band.
Yeah, and they're actually really
good. A death cab as in cab for cutie?
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would be part of.
It does, and they're actually really good, so you should take it.
No, so I should definitely take a look at that.
Yeah, so we have a big problem with that. PR is not working very well. It already dropped out of the top 750 downloads in the Apple Store.
So then, yeah, please. I mean, I'm not feeling so bad for them. One last one really quickly. Do you have one?
Justin Bieber went to prom.
Okay, I'm leaving.
No. I am so relieved. He went to prom?
I know. He crashed a prom. Finally, he's not crashing a car into a
something
or a face into another face. He crashed into a prom. Everyone's excited. They upload tweets and stuff.
His last famous song was...
I don't know. There was something about baby, but no one knows what happened since. But he crashed the ball, and everyone got
Justin
excited.
Bieber did not crash into cars. Folks, that's all the time we have for us. Danny Swibel, Ronnie Staff, thank you for being here. Yes, this was the Vegan Show. And of course, do not forget to join us tomorrow morning, I-24 News. Check us out on all the social networks. Tune in tomorrow morning. It is the place to be. Pretty people. Yes. Okay, now the news.